2, 1. This is a quick video to show you how to create the upload spreadsheets for vendors and customers. One of the first things we need to do when we set up a new QuickBooks account or move it from someplace else is we must populate the information for vendor records and customer records. Customers can also be donors, they can be grantors. It's the same type of record. Think of it like a profile. If you go to Amazon.com, sign up for an account, and they ask you a variety of questions. This is what we're populating here, and we need this information for various things. So let's first take a look at what a customer and a vendor record look like. I'm going to sales. I'm going to donors. They're called donors in my system. This is my demo system. And I'm going to create a new donor. In this case, you can see I have the name. Here we have the display name. The display name is for your use. I wouldn't suggest you put anything obscene in there, but you could do it and the donor would not see it. Email, phone number, addresses, and so forth. All this is great information to have. It's also, if you have to fill them, have to create one of these at a time, it takes forever. Now let's look at expenses and vendors. Again, new vendor. This looks remarkably the same. Vendor display name, company name, and so forth. The reason for that is it makes training much easier because there are two sides of the same coin, people who give you money and people to whom you give money. So you'll see everything here. One of the most important fields in both customer and vendor records is email because it allows you to send so much through the internet, receipts, purchase orders, and so forth. One thing for vendors, however, that you should know is as you get down to the bottom, there will be taxes. And here we check for 1099 vendors. A 1099 vendor is usually an individual to whom you pay money, and they are not a corporation, they're not a partnership of certain types, and you have to report to the IRS if they make over $650 a year. And this makes it simple. So here we check the track payments, and over here we enter their social security number or their EIN number, which is their business ID. Those are the important parts of creating donors, customers, and vendors in QuickBooks. Now let's talk about doing it as an upload. Here is the vendor upload sheet. And you can see that there is sample data here. This is obviously not real. You can tell by the phone numbers. But it does give you an idea. You need a name, a company name. Then you should have an email. Phones are good, websites are good. The rest of it is all pretty much arbitrary. As we slide over, here is opening balance. Now, if we are moving from one system to another and you owe your vendors money, this is where it goes. So in this case, we're saying that we owe, let me very quickly change the, sorry. So here we have a credit for this particular vendor, and this vendor has a $500 opening balance. You don't have to fill that out, but it's available for you. Here is the tax ID that I showed you earlier, and this is for yes or no for whether they're a 1099 vendor. Here's what happens many times. My clients will fill this out and they won't bother filling out the tax ID or the 1099 number. Then we come back and say it's time to do your 1099 reporting, and they have to go into each individual record and update these fields. That's a pain. The other thing that you can do is if you've marked yes here, they will show up in 1099 vendor activity. But what it'll also do is it allows you to send it to their email, which if you're doing good things is over here. It'll automatically, the system will automatically send a questionnaire to them and ask them to complete the social security number, the address, the name, and so forth. It's really great functionality. So if they are indeed a 1099 vendor, at least click the yes over here. And again, a 1099 vendor is any individual that you pay over 600 that does not report their own taxes, and if you pay them over $650 a year, you must report it to the IRS. Let's talk about customers. Again, this is very simple, but it is really a pain if you have to enter these by the individual one. Name, company, customer type we generally don't use. It's possible to use it. Email, phones again, website, street, city, and so forth. And once again, here's our opening balance. Do we owe these people any money? I'm sorry, do they owe us any money? These are customers when we created this. So in this particular case, we're saying that Brian here owes us $234,000. Here's the date that the debt was incurred. And then here again, we have customer type in two different places. I think I did that, and I apologize. So what happens then is you create these and fill in the data. Fill in as much data as you have, and I would suggest you look up any data, for instance, emails, and load it this way. It's very simple to load with a spreadsheet. You save it, and then we simply go to QuickBooks. We go to import data. We can either use donors or vendors. We go to donors, and here it says, please browse and select the CSV or Excel file to upload, and that would be the customer, in this case, the donor file, the customer file. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.